It was messing me up at first. But what's up? What's up? We got more T-Bait. T-Bait. So listen, all right. So it's so crazy because when I first did the review, or not a review, I should say, live reaction. This was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Fucking, he ended up dropping a chapter like right, like after I made that video. I think it was like I think he released the chapter like maybe either a few hours or maybe the next day, Sunday, something like that. But it was just a coincidence that this chapter came out like right after I did the video because I wanted to do 2 chapters, but the last chapter ended up getting delayed. But I wasn't gonna make this video at first because it's been a whack day. But I looked at like a little preview of the chapter, and I saw that Arthur is in this chapter, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta make a video on this because it kind of got me excited at that point. So yeah, here we are doing a live on a Wednesday, which is not typical. But I'm gonna just get into it. Chapter 467, Divergence. Our boy Arthur Lewin. I really want to know okay. I wonder if the question is going to get answered that I had before. I wonder where are we going to start off? Are we going to be back him starting a whole new life again in a different new area, new world, or is he going to be a Jinn? Is he going to be in Alacria? Is he going to just go and restart with Alice? Is he gonna wake up on Earth and be real Arthur, be gray again? Like, I'm so interested in seeing what happens. But okay, so let's get into it. Right? Arthur Lewin. Wait, I struggle to open my eyes, but even when I accomplished the task, I could barely see. Only one thing was clear. Mom, she was younger, much younger. The stress of hard years lived not yet showing on her face. Her auburn hair. Bro, this is Alice! This is Alice! So are we really about to do this all over again? Like, I'm so shocked. This is Alice he's talking about. I'm so shocked. Like, why? How? What? What are we? Okay. Mom, she was younger, much younger. The stress of hard years lived, not yet showing on her face. Her auburn hair was thicker and richer in color, her skin smoother, her eyes brighter. I felt myself fill with warmth as I stared up at her. I cannot believe this is Alice. I thought we was gonna go to a new world, or maybe we were gonna go to Alacria or something. He's talking about Alice. So what's the point of this, though? I gotta just keep reading. I'm just wait. What's the point? And like, what does he have to learn? What does he have to understand? I felt myself fill with warmth as I stared up at her. Hi, little Art. I'm your daddy. Can you say Dada? Honey, he was just born. My tiny strained eyes widened as I looked at my father. I'd almost forgotten how charismatic he'd been, especially back then. His square jaw was still cleanly shaven, highlighting his youthful features, and his hair, ashy brown in color, was kept trim. A shadow of a memory, like another layer of my mind working separately beneath my consciousness, referred to his eyebrows as extending sharply like two swords, strong and fierce, but simultaneously drooping and gentle. As I gazed up into his deep blue, almost sapphire irises, wet with tears, I felt my own eyes begin to water. Waves of complex and competing emotions rolled through me, and I broke down, a wild, infantile keening issue from my tiny mouth and lungs. Doctor, is there something wrong? My father asked. Why is he crying? The doctor dismissed my father's words, saying, newborns are supposed to cry, Mr. Lewin. Please continue resting for a couple of days. I'll be available in case you need me for anything. I don't understand. This moment marks the first day of my new life, doesn't it? But surely I haven't been reborn again. I felt myself growing hungry and tired. It was just difficult to keep my thoughts straight. I just need to rest, to eat. Then I'll think more clearly. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. So, what I can think of at this point is that he's going to maybe wake up again and maybe be older. I don't think he's going to restart everything. Maybe he's going to wake up again and be older, or maybe like time's going to pass by really, really quickly for him or something. Or maybe he might wake up and just be in this, like being a newborn for a little bit of time, and then he's going to wake up and maybe be someone else. I mean, I don't know. It could be anything. It really could be anything. I just don't think he's going to stay as little baby Arthur. I just don't think he's going to stay that way and like have to redo everything. I mean, I guess he could, right? He could, and then it could be like if you had another new start, how would you go about things, Arthur? You know, would you still do all the things you did last time? I mean, that would be interesting, like to see what things you would change. But I don't think we're going to go down that path though. But I don't know. I have no damn idea. So he needs to rest, to eat. Then he'll think more clearly. Somewhere deep in the back of my head, I felt the pressure that was both cool and dark and comforting. Okay, so cool and dark and comforting, yet intense and vibrant and on guard. Okay. But I couldn't bring anything more to the forefront of my conscious mind than just that as I And yet intense and vibrant on guard. I couldn't bring anything more to the forefront of my conscious mind than just that, as I drifted into a cloud woven of fatigue, uncertainty, and the yearnings of an infant's body. So he's still an infant at this point. Okay. I squealed with a baby's delight as my father. Okay, we're still baby Arthur. Okay. I squealed with the baby's delight as my father swung me around his simple bedroom. Everything he did, I adored, rewarding him with wild giggles and starry-eyed stares. It seemed nearly impossible to maintain the dissonance and the rational logic of an adult who had lived half a century across two different lives already, even before being reborn again into my own infant body. The memories of my precious time as a baby rested half-formed on top of my consciousness. The memories of my previous time as a baby rested half-formed on the top of my consciousness. So maybe he's saying like he can half remember the memories as a baby, and now he's redoing it, so he's getting these memories back again. But my life was different this time. I was different. I couldn't be certain why, but the pull of being a newborn was much stronger. Wait, what? I was different. But my life was different. I was different. I couldn't be certain why, but the pull of being a newborn was much stronger, like yet a third layer over my personality. The pull of being a newborn. What does that mean? The pull of being a newborn was much stronger. So what does that mean? The pull, is it, and yet a third layer over my personality. So he wants to be a newborn, maybe? I don't know what that means, the pull of being a newborn, but let's just keep reading. In fact, whenever I stopped focusing on who I was, the Arthur Lewin who had already lived 20 years of life, who had fought Sides and Asura, who had mastered all four elements only to lose them before finding ether instead, I seemed to sink beneath the surface. So this kind of reminds me of Sylvie. Like she had to focus And when she was able to focus, she was able to stay up top and not sink into the water or whatever. That's kind of what this reminds me of. So he says that whenever I stopped focusing on who I was, so whenever he stopped thinking about who he actually is, he seemed to sink beneath the surface. So maybe that's just them telling him that they don't want him to really focus on being a baby because that's not really who he is right now. And he needs to focus on who he is, which is Arthur Lewin, who fought the sides and the Wraiths and the Asuras and all that shit. So like, he needs to focus on that and not lose sight of that, because if he focuses on, oh, how great everything was with Reynolds and with Alice, and you know how he can wish he could have his dad back again, and if he focuses on that, that's not what he needs, and so he ends up sinking. It just reminds me exactly what happened with Sylvie. So that's what I'm thinking right now based off of what he said. He said that if he knows to focus on who he really is, he seems to sink beneath the surface. Living my life exactly as before without conscious thought or effort. So he's not making no changes. He's living his life exactly as before without conscious thought or effort. Micah, what's up? He's probably acting more like a baby this time. Maybe like the pull, like I guess like, oh, just he needs to be more like a baby and not be like, Arthur forming his core at 1 year old or almost 2 years old or whatever. So living my life exactly as before without conscious thought or effort, much the same way one might walk commonly tread paths to arrive at their destination, only to find that they have no recollection of the journey. Oh, okay, I kind of see what he's saying. He's saying he's still going to go and get from A to B, but he doesn't know how he got there, I guess. But he still is going to do the same things, though. It's like without conscious thought, he just kind of automatically does it. So he's still going to do the same thing. He's still going to get the attack. He's still going to save, what's her face? I keep thinking of Cecilia. What the fuck? Tessia. He's still going to save Tessia and stuff when she was a kid. So I guess he's still going to do those same things. But what does he need to learn, though? What does he need to learn? Okay, so much the same way one might walk commonly tread paths to arrive at their destination, only to find that they have no recollection of the journey. There was a knocking sound, an unexpected pain in my leg, and infant's instincts overrode my logical senses, and I began to cry, loud and desperate. That's what happened last time. He was like, oh, I'm not even supposed to be crying like this. Like, I'm a grown-ass man, but his infantile instincts took over, and he started bawling. Father looked around in a panic, pulling me tight against his chest, patting me on the back, roughly. Hush, Art, hush. It's just a scratch. You don't need to... Reynolds, what did you do? Mother's voice entered the room just ahead of the woman herself. She swept me out of my father's arms, glowering at him, then began to fuss over my scratch. Oh, my baby. Your father has manipulated you. It's okay, little Art. It's okay. Your mommy is a healer, didn't you know? Still crying, I was set down on their bed. Then, with a hiccup that shook my tiny, soft body, I stopped as light began to issue from Mother's hands. The light bathed my wound, and the scratch began to fade away as if it had hadn't ever been. So this is the same thing that happened last time. This is the exact same thing. This moment was my first realization of how different magic was in Daikathan than Ki on Earth. Watching Mother heal my wound had been a springboard. So I wonder if he's just like unconsciously living out this life all over again. Like he's there, but he's not really there. We just got to keep reading and see where it goes. Watching Mother heal my wound had been a springboard onto my interest in mana. Only now, purple motes. Oh, he's seeing the ether. Okay, so that's different. He's seeing ether now, even though, okay, he didn't see that before. So maybe he needs to live out the life, but then see how ether interacts with everything that had happened? I don't know. Only now, purple motes drifted through the air, almost as if coming to investigate the light. They danced within it, swirling around my mother's hands and rolling along my skin. Ether, I said, realizing several things at once but forgetting to maintain my posture as an infant. Excuse you? Mother said with a silly smile, pinching my nose very slightly. See? All better. She rubbed at the patch of skin that no longer bore a scratch, but I was no longer fully paying attention. I can see the etheric particles, but I couldn't have seen or sensed ether at this point in my life. I was only a few months old, and I didn't even have a mana-core. It would be many months before I would even start the process of gathering all the mana in my body into a core. Unless little things, moments, had been different, changed by my actions. But for the most part, I had walked through this chance at my life in the exact steps as before. Okay. I don't know where we're going, man. Okay, so he can see ether, but it doesn't make sense for him to see ether. So can he is this like him? Is he like really seeing it? I don't know, man. Okay, so I felt a strange and discomforting deja vu as I remembered that I had activated the fourth keystone. Fate, I thought, scrunching up my face in concentration. I am searching for insight into fate. Okay. Right. So maybe this is all about fate. So he's gonna learn something from re-watching his life? Because it seems to me like he's really watching it. He's not like consciously like making different decisions, right? I think he's still going to make all the same decisions that it seems like, but he's like more aware of ether now. But it seems to me like he's like watching it from afar or something. But maybe not. This sudden revelation of ether drew my focus inward to the yin and yang of darkness and light that pressed against the inner layer of my subconsciousness, like a sound not quite heard. Sylvie, Regis. I felt my soft baby limbs squirm as anxiety flooded through my tiny frame. I forgot them. They should with me, they are. A slightly distorted feminine voice said. I turned my head clumsily, trying to look around the room. Mother was frowning down at me, asking a question, but I couldn't absorb her words. Instead, I met the golden eyes of my bond. I said this, man. Listen, I said this, right? I said that because of what Regis and Sylvie were doing, they were like holding hands, or they were like holding hands, and they were like being with them. They got their energies all entwined or whatever. I was thinking like, okay, whatever he's doing in fate, he's still going to have Regis and Sylvie connected with him, because even though it's never happened before, but like it seemed like they were doing something new now. So yes, he actually do have them with him while he's in the fourth keystone. Okay, cool. All right, so what is she gonna say? So he met the golden eyes of my bond, Sylvie, except they weren't quite gold, but see-through like the rest of her. Maybe he's meeting. Okay. Oh, I got another theory. Maybe he's meeting. Maybe he's meeting the version of Sylvie that pulled him away from the vessel that Agrona had. So maybe he's meeting that Sylvie. The Sylvie that was like, frozen in time or whatever the hell, and pulled him away and put him into his new body. So maybe he's meeting that Sylvie. Even though it's still kind of crazy because she like didn't exist yet, but she also died, but they not really died. But how can she exist but not having been born? Like, I don't know. It's just it don't make sense. But maybe it's that Sylvie that he's actually talking to. Okay, so except they weren't quite gold but see-through like the rest of her. She looked the way she had before, young and new, only barely having acquired her human form. Except she was also gaunt and haunted. Even discounting her incorporeal nature, she seemed weak, like she was fading. Yeah, so she used all her energy to pull him into, into Arthur, the baby, and he took over the vessel or whatever, and so she's like weak and out of strength. So it makes sense that she's looking like that. Okay, so I think that's exactly what's going on. Oh, Sylvie, you are here. Have you been the entire time? I'm sorry. It's much more difficult to maintain a sense of myself in this form. No, Arthur, I'm not the Sylvie who entered the Keystone with you. So she's a different Sylvie. Like I said, I hesitated to respond, deeply confused. I was growing tired again, and my eyes were drifting closed as Mother rocked me in her arms and cooled me to sleep. I'm the Sylvie who brought you to the Leywins, who watched over you on Earth, who has yet to be reconnected with the piece of me now held in stasis, or stasis, that's what it's called, in stasis. I lost where I was at. Shit. Okay, there you go. So now held in stasis within my egg. Sylvie thought, her words forming not in the air but directly in my head. She gave me an understanding smile. It's confusing, I know, but really, I'm not that Sylvie either. I'm your projection of that Sylvie, because that's all this is. All any of it is. You're projecting your life into the Keystone realm. And the magic contained here is allowing it to play out again while you sleep, dream. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so I guess he also wanted to be able to talk to her, but so that mean that is it all a projection then? So that means that she's a projection too? Let me reread that. I'm the Sylvie who brought you to the Leywins, who watched over you on Earth, who has yet to be reconnected with the piece of me now held in stasis within my egg. Sylvie thought, her words formed into the air, but not in the air, but directly in my mind. She gave me an understanding smile. It's confusing, I know, but really, I'm not that Sylvie either. I'm your projection of that Sylvie. So he's projecting that Sylvie. Because that's all any of this is you're projecting your life in the Keystone. Okay, my eyelids fluttered, and I felt my infant body relax, but it feels so real. And if it's true, I yawned and stretched my chubby arms. How would you know? You can't know anything. I don't. And then, although I tried to prevent it, I drifted to sleep again. Okay, so we're getting progress. We're getting some progress. So let's just keep going. Let's just keep going at this point. With a rush of mana, the core formed in my sternum. So he's doing all this stuff again. With a rush of mana, the core formed in my sternum. It felt great. Beyond words even. I simultaneously felt the rush of success. I have informed the core for the first time, as well as the sentimental joy of feeling a mana core drawing in mana within my sternum once again. Something I had never thought would happen. I started to close my eyes to sense my newly formed mana core, but the memory of what happened next slipped through the time fog that had been constantly swallowing me, and I instead stared around at the half-demolished home, the rubble of which was still raining down from the sky. Distantly, I heard my mother shout, "Art, oh my baby, are you okay?" But my focus was on something else. Not the newly available sense of mana that tingled at the edge of my consciousness, but the amethyst motes of ether that had been displaced by the outward pushing force of my awakening. Okay, so this is different. So now he's seeing the ether. So he formed this core, and they had that like explosion, and so he displaced the ether when he formed this core. So what does that mean? Does that mean like when he formed this core, he created like new mana or something, and like the ether like had to get away from it because it wasn't part of the world, and it's like something new? I don't know. I was trying to understand why it got displaced. Not only had those closest been displaced, but ether beyond the sphere of wreckage seemed to be drifting closer, almost as if curious, like the ether itself was coming to investigate. Okay, so he displaced the nearby ether, but then the surrounding ether started coming in towards him. So what does that mean? So maybe it is like a new creation, and they're just like, oh, let me see what this new manna is that just came out of nowhere from this kid or something. I don't know. But why would ether act like that? I have forgotten to consider how I could even sense it, much less what its presence and action suggested. My last couple of years swallowed up within the rhythm of reliving my life as a toddler. So we're speeding through this. Okay. In the background, mother, who had taken me in her arms, weakly said, "Congratulations, Art, honey," while my father exclaimed, "You awakened, champ." Struck by a sudden consideration, I tried to activate God Step. He tried to activate God Step. There was no glow of a burning God rune, no sense of ether flooding through my nearly 3-year-old body, which made sense. I had no ether core and no God runes, and yet the etheric pathways lit up dimly before my eyes. What is going on? So does this mean that like everybody can do God Step? They just don't have the insight to do it, and you don't actually need an ether core to do all this? But he said it's a projection though, so that means that it's not really real. So that's crazy. That's crazy. But let's see. Congratulations. Yeah. So and yet the etheric pathways lit up dimly before my eyes, flickering and fading rapidly in and out, as if I were seeing two competing images of the world set one atop the other. Wait, the etheric pathways lit up dimly, flickering rapidly in and out. So maybe he's like having a hard time separating the difference between where he's at right now and the real world and where he's at. Like, I don't know, like maybe like, oh, this is not supposed to be possible, so it's like it's fading or something. But the fact that it lit up at all, I don't know what this means. Because to me it just seems like he's just like watching from afar. He's not really consciously doing all this, but he's talking about it like he is though. So I just gotta keep reading. I immediately stopped attempting to channel ether as my sternum clenched painfully. "Art, honey, are you sure you're all right?" Mother asked, tears in her eyes and the lines of concern wrinkling her smooth skin. Beside her, completely oblivious, Father was practically jumping up and down within the wreckage. "My boy is a genius! Awakened before the age of 3! This is unprecedented! I thought I was fast, but this is on another level." "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm okay," I said, resisting the urge to dig my fingers into my aching sternum. As a neighbor ran up to see what had happened, I reached for Father, who picked me up proudly and let me rest in his arms. Within the comfort of its protective shell, I stared at the atmosphere around the house, watching as more and more ether seemed to gather, like so many violet fireflies. Okay, so we got another little time skip. "Stop," I said, a rush of previous life memories suddenly bringing my whole mind into the present. I looked around, truly realizing where I was. Perhaps it was something in my voice, but the caravan came to a halt as Durden pulled the skitters to a stop. "What's the matter, Art?" Father asked, looking puzzled. I swallowed heavily. Oh, right, the ambush, right? So maybe he is thinking about changing things. Maybe he is actually can make different decisions. So is he going to say stop like, hey, there's an ambush that's going to be coming up. Maybe we want to go somewhere else. But then again, if he doesn't do that, he doesn't fall off the cliff. If he doesn't fall off the cliff, Sylvia doesn't save him. And if she doesn't do that, then he doesn't meet Sylvia. If he doesn't meet Sylvia, he doesn't get Sylvie. So this could change the course of everything. So what is he going to do? Perhaps it was something in my voice, but the caravan came to a halt as Durden pulled the skitters to a stop. "What's the matter, Art?" Father asked, looking puzzled. I swallowed heavily, growing frustrated with all of this for the first time. It was maddening to realize I had slipped away in the fudge of simply reliving my life. I don't know. Is that fudge or fuge? I don't know. A chill wind was blowing through the Grand Mountains as our skitter pulled cart wound its way toward the gate that would take us to Xyrus. I was almost 4. I'd already been introduced to the Twin Horns, and we were approaching the most fateful moment of my life. fateful. The world buzzed inside my head like a trapped bumblebee. Why am I only remembering this now? We were nearly upon the bandit ambush, the moment that would take me away from my mother and father for years, that would make me miss the birth of my sister. I looked hard at my father and felt a knot growing in my throat. I wasn't ready to leave him again, to lose him, not when I could stop it. So what is he gonna do? Art, honey, mother said, putting her hand against my cheek and then the side of my neck, looking at my father. She said, Reynolds, he's warm. Are you coming down with something? Father asked, hopping over the row of seats to get closer. Can you heal him, Alice? I'm not sick, I said finally, though there was certainly a sick twist in my guts. I genuinely didn't know what my life might look like if I didn't fall off that cliff defending my mother. But I couldn't just let us stumble into an ambush that might have gotten any one of us killed. It didn't, of course, except for me in a way. But how much had I already changed as I lived through this life? Events. So yeah, but has he changed anything? Because I don't think he has, though. But how much have I already changed as I lived through this life? Events had unfolded almost exactly the same. But what if it was just enough to cause some subtle change? What if this time the wounds that Helen and father take turn out to be fatal? I asked myself. Okay, so he told me. There is an ambush up ahead, I explained in a small voice. We need to be careful. What? Father asked, caught off guard. Durden and Adam exchanged a look, while Angela Rose peered around us as if she might catch some sight of this hidden ambush. Jasmine rested one hand on my shoulder protectively. Helen's eyes burned into my own, searching for truth. Before she said, safeguard information, we proceeded slowly, spells at the ready. Instead of relaxing, my heart only beat faster as I immediately began to wonder if I had done the right thing. I pressed into the light and dark spots behind my eyes, but I felt only a dim, amorphous stirring. Overcome by the emotions of a not yet 4-year-old's physical form, I wanted nothing more than the comfort of someone to assure me that I was making the correct decision. You won't find that here. My head whipped around and I found myself looking up at the young, ghostly image of Sylvie, who was drifting a couple dozen feet up in the air, watching everything happen with a melancholy expression. What do you mean? She gave a small shake of her head, sending a wave through her transparent, wheat blonde hair. You're alone, Arthur. Maybe more so than you've ever been before. And that's going to be the hardest part, because no one else can understand. No one can guide you. You'll have to bear the weight of the consequences alone, too. Okay, so what does this mean? I need to think. So, he's reliving his life again. I really didn't think that we was going to go through his life again, but we're reliving his life again. He sees Ether. He sees how I interacted with him awakening. He sees Ether in the way that Alice healed him. So he sees Ether that way. What else is different? He sees like the remnants of God. So he sees the pathways dimly. He dimly sees the pathways. And then now he tells them about the ambush, so that way they're a little bit more prepared. So they're still going to get attacked, I think, but they're going to be more prepared. But then Sylvie comes in and says that you're all alone, more so than ever. I'm guessing just because everything that's happened, he's even more alone because he knows all this new information and he can't share with anybody because they're going to think he's fucking crazy. So no one can guide you. You'll have to bear the weight of the consequences alone, too. I waited, expecting something more, an affirmation or expression of positivity, or the assertion that actually I wouldn't be completely alone because she was with me. But no such kindness offset her harsh message. You don't sound like yourself. Of course not, she said, the pitch of her voice rising. I'm me, but as you interpret the me that was left behind after I gave up being me so you could... Oh my God, yo, what? Of course not, she said, the pitch of her voice rising. I'm me, but as you interpret the me that was left behind after I gave up being me so that you could continue being you. I've told you what happened to me. Maybe. She paused, considering. Maybe I'm a little more than that, since part of the real me is here with you. So part of the real me is here with you. So the part of the real Sylvie is here with him. So Sylvie is there with him. But he's only projecting the way that he thinks of her. Because I think that he doesn't realize the real Sylvie's with him yet. Maybe. But you said I was all alone. And you are. But maybe not forever. Remember that. It doesn't have to be forever. My face scrunched up uncertainty. Uncertainty. I was struggling to make sense of her words, and my gaze kept jumping away from her to search for the impending ambush by the bandits. One of these times when I looked back, she was gone. The fighting broke out suddenly. I was quick to point out the 4 conjurers, and the leader, the Twin Horns, took them down with expert precision. A much cleaner fight than had happened the first time. No one was even injured. After the battle, so this is different. After the battle, I slipped away from Mother and walked to the edge of the road. Sylvia was out there, watching, or so I thought. In truth, I had no way to know. Would she still save me if I simply slipped and fell, or even jumped off the ledge myself? I inched closer, breathing shallowly. Closing my eyes, I leaned forward, and a strong hand grabbed my arm, and I snapped back to reality. Turning, I found myself face to face with my father, who scooped me up and set me on his shoulder. "Whoa, be careful, Art. That's a long old fall," he said with a laugh. "Hey, how do you know these guys were there anyway?" I swallowed and looking back over the forest far below. "I don't know, I just felt them, I guess." He laughed again. "Just felt them?" he says. "If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. My boy's a genius." And Adam and Angela Rose said at the same time, their tones lightly teasing. We all got back in the wagon, and Durden made the skidders go with a gentle wave of the reins. My mother pulled me close, and I rested my head on her shoulder. She's pregnant right now, I realized, the knowledge fuzzy, like a fact only half remembered. Dad never got injured, so he didn't tell me to run with her or that she is carrying another baby, my sister, though they don't know that yet, Ellie. I frowned. It was hard to keep these facts in order, but maybe it was just because I was so tired. One of the problems of having a 3-year-old's body, I mused, letting my eyes shut. For such a small body, it requires so much rest. The last thing I felt was Mother's fingers feathering through my auburn hair. Okay, so I wonder, how does that change things? Because he didn't fall. So does he still meet Sylvie? Or no, Sylvia. Does he still meet Sylvia? And then does he even meet Tessia? Because I don't even think he'll meet Tessia at this point. And then you also gotta think, that means he doesn't meet what's his name? Gideon, not Gideon. What the fuck is his name? Virion. He doesn't meet Virion. And he doesn't get trained, and he doesn't get the beast will, bruh. I wonder how this is gonna turn out. Days flowed together into weeks, to months, to years. Zyrus was amazing. I had the best. So we're now at Zyrus, bruh. Like, he didn't even go to Ellenwire and get the training, and like, bro, this is a completely different Arthur now. Because he's not going to be able to stop time. He ain't going to be able to use his beast will. He ain't going to be able to defeat Lucas. Maybe he still might be able to defeat Lucas. But still, like, this is crazy. This is so crazy. But does that mean that Tessia is not going to fall in love with him then, right? Because she doesn't have that childhood experience of growing up with them and everything that they went through together. Bro, like, this could be a completely different story. That's crazy. Okay, let's keep going. So days flowed into weeks, into years. Zyra was amazing. I had the best tutors, and they prepared me thoroughly to join Zyra's Academy, which I did at the age of 12. Did he ever go out and train with Jasmine and be one of the adventurers? Did he ever do that? I had the best tutors, and they prepared me thoroughly to join Zyra's Academy, which I did at the age of 12, when my core was already light red. Okay. My memories of my past life as King Gray had continued to fade, but that was okay. It became easier and easier to just be Arthur Lewin. Wait, what? Bi-elemental augmenter? But wait, he's supposed to have all 4 of the elements. And a lightning deviant too. Yeah, but he's supposed to have all the elements though. He literally said bi-elemental. He's supposed to be quad. Yo, this is crazy. Okay. Sometimes I regret it that I hadn't become a Bruh, this is so crazy. He's literally not even the same person. Sometimes I regret it that I hadn't become a tri-elemental or even quad. Why is he talking about this like he doesn't know that he did? He did become a quad. Like, he's talking about it like, oh, I'm disappointed that I didn't become a tri-elemental or a quadra-elemental mage. Like, it's like he doesn't even know. Sometimes I regretted that I hadn't become a tri-elemental or even quadra-elemental mage, but I knew that was silly. No one could become adept at utilizing all 4 elements. Still, there were times when flashes of my life on Earth would leak through, and I remembered Ki, and I felt like there was more I could have done. So maybe this is what... This is so crazy. Okay. I even helped my little sister Ellie awaken early. Not as early as me, but Dad said not everyone could be a once-in-a-generation prodigy. Mom had smacked him and Ellie had pouted for days. I tried to help the girl we lived with too, but Lilia couldn't. Bruh, Lilia didn't even get... Yo, because he doesn't have all 4 of the elements. That's why. He can't help her the same way. So Lilia never awakened. Yo. And then so he's probably going to meet Tessia. Maybe Tessia might be different too. Oh, this is crazy, yo. This is so crazy. I wonder what's going to happen with... So he doesn't get Sylvie though. Okay, let's see where this goes. So Mom had smacked him and Ellie had pouted for days. I tried to help the girl we lived with too. Lilia couldn't quite get a grip on the mana. It wasn't surprising, I guess, since her mom and dad weren't mages either. But it did remind me that there's just some things I couldn't do. A good lesson for a 12-year-old, I thought. You seem nervous, Dad pointed out as we sparred in the days leading up to the start of the first term at the academy. Didn't he go and be an adventurer before he went to Zyra's Academy? Or did he go and be an adventurer after going to Zyra's Academy? I can't remember. But I don't think he ever went to be an adventurer, remember? So, Tessia was a slave? Yeah, she was... No. She ran away. And I think she got... But no, she didn't get captured because the people... No, that's not right. Let me go back and think. So Arthur... No. When did Arthur save Tessia? Okay, let me see if I can go back on this. Okay, so because I'm forgetting some things. So they got ambushed by the bandits. Because Mikey, you got me thinking. They got ambushed by the bandits. And then after they got ambushed by the bandits, He ended up saving his mom by pushing the one guy off the cliff or whatever, and the guy died, and then Sylvia saved him. After Sylvia saved him, he went and he was with Sylvie. Yeah, he was with Sylvie. Or Sylvia, not Sylvia. He was with Sylvia for a while. After he was with Sylvia for a while, Sylvia made the portal. He went through the portal, and that's how he ended up in Ellenwire. And then, so after that, because he still had the egg at that point, after that, that's when he met Tessia. He was in the forest or whatever, and she got captured, and they were going to sell her into slavery to make money or whatever. They were going to sell her to make money because she's an elf, right? And elves were rare, and they get good money in slavery or whatever. And he rescued her. And then she led him back to their home. And then that's when he met Viri and all that stuff. So if he never did any of that shit, that means that Tessia either, because they was trying to search for her, right? They were she went far away. They was trying to search for her, but they couldn't find her. So does that mean that she actually went into slavery? And like, you know what too? Probably the three races, the elves, the dwarves, and the humans, they probably never come together and get all of the students together at the Zyrus Academy or whatever. They probably never do that because Tessia gets she's gone, and they still like hostile, and they think that humans sold her up to slavery. So they still have this grudge against the humans. So they never like all come together and try to like join forces or whatever. So they probably never do that. They probably never do that. This is so crazy. This is so crazy. Okay. So they were out. So yes, you seem nervous, Dad pointed out, as we sparred in the days leading up to the start of my first term at the academy. We were out behind, and that means that he also doesn't develop that relationship with what's her face, the old lady who is from Alacria, but she's secretly, in what the fuck is her name? She's the wind magic old lady, and she had a good relationship with Virian. I can't think of her name, but anyway, he probably doesn't get a good relationship with her because remember she wanted to see, oh yeah, you can use, how many elements can you use? Like, oh yeah, I can use all of them, and bruh. So how did all this change though? If he awakened this core at the same age, then what changed? Why is he not as powerful? Is it simply because he didn't get the training with Virian? With the Beast Will? Maybe that's the reason why? Anyway, so we were out behind the Helstia's residence, which they had been kind enough to invite us into. It's only natural, Art, but even though these other kids might be older, not many of them will be more talented. I'm not nervous, I insisted, lunging forward and sweeping my wooden practice sword at his shin, but he sidestepped. I brought it around and across my body, aiming at his ribs and the opposite side. He only barely got his own weapon into place. I've still been a mage as long as they have, maybe even longer. He parried a thrust and I overextended, moving forward too far and exposing my flank. With a chuckle, he attacked my open position. I jumped into a forward roll to avoid his strike and came back to my feet facing him. I did awaken younger than anyone else has ever. Don't get cocky, he admonished. Although he couldn't hide the obvious pride in his quivering lips, flexed jaw, and gleaming eyes. Just remember, don't let those nobles and royals push you around, but don't go starting fights either. Taking my weapon in both hands, I thrust forward and released a geyser of steam, catching Dad off guard. He stumbled back, coughing and hacking, the skin of his face slightly red from the heat. But make sure and finish them if someone else is stupid enough to fight me. I added, repeating advice he had given me many times before. He waved me off, trying to catch his breath. That's right, he coughed out eventually. Okay, that's enough for today. Your tutor should be here soon. His tutor? Who's his tutor? I couldn't help the rolling in my eyes. Come on, today I'm ready. I brightened. Let me come with you to the auction house instead. I wouldn't be home as often once term starts. and I want to spend my time with you, not listening to another lecture about mana manipulation theory. I trailed off as my father's slightly damp brows rose in his red face. Okay, I said, giving up my half-hearted effort to escape lessons, my head hanging. A calloused hand roughed it up. Maybe your mother can bring you down after lessons and dinner. I looked up gratefully. Dad's nose wrinkled in a bath. I thought of that moment a lot as term started and I was pulled into academy life. It was difficult there. It was difficult, bro. He didn't have no difficulties at the academy. None. The motherfucker became a teacher within like the first week. Man, everything is changing, yo. He is like nowhere near as strong as he was. I thought of that moment a lot as the term started and I was pulled into the academy life. It was difficult there. I was a good fighter and strong for my age, but the prodigy-like talent I had displayed as an infant faded with the memories of my last life. So, okay, so wait. So, okay, I think I know what's going on. So, he doesn't have his memories anymore of his previous life. So he doesn't remember all the skill that he had with the sword. He doesn't remember how great he was with, like, you know, with strategy and detecting things and dealing with royals and stuff. Because he doesn't have those memories anymore, he's basically going and he's kind of being a normal kid at this point. Because he doesn't even remember his life as Gray. This is crazy. So maybe that's the catalyst that changes everything, where it's like he needs those memories. I was a good fighter and strong for my age, but the prodigy-like talent I had displayed as an infant faded with the memories of my last life. Still, that wasn't so bad. It was a lot easier just to be a kid and not having all this stuff about Earth and being a king stuck in my head. So I wonder why is it turning out like this? But yeah, Zyra's Academy was still difficult. And I thought about the lessons Dad taught me whenever people tried to pick on me because I was so young. This happened a lot, especially from the noble kids who all sucked pretty bad. The princes and princesses of Sapin and Elenwar even went there. Okay, so they did. They did actually all come together. Although I stayed well out of their way, still barely any of them could manipulate two different elements, much less a deviant. And the director was really nice. Although, Director Good Sky, that's her name, was really nice. Although kind of intimidating. It was almost too bad that I was stuck with so many of them for my very first field trip when my team fighting mechanics one class was taken to a real dungeon in the Beastglade. So what the hell is going to happen in this dungeon? Vanity Glory. All right, is everyone ready? Our professor, an intense woman named Vanity Glory, asked. Then let's head in. Brace yourselves. Once we get inside, it's going to be chilly. She stepped through the entrance, which appeared to be a narrow stairway leading into darkness. In a single file line, we all began making our way down the stairs. The temperature dropped noticeably in every step we took, or with every step we took. What the hell? I didn't think it'd be so this cold, a boy named Roland said through chattering teeth. Augment yourself, you dolt, I heard Clive, the student council. Whatever fucking happened to Clive anyway? I think that was the dude with the glasses, right? Who secretly was working with Alacrity. Whatever happened to him? The student council vice president saved from behind. It was too dark to see anything more than the vague outline of each person. I glanced at Clive and my gaze shifted automatically to the elven girl beside him, the student council president, Tessia Erlith. She didn't see me looking, but Clive did. No, Clive isn't that guy. Clive is the one who liked Tessia. I remember him. She didn't see me looking, but Clive did. He sneered, and I looked away, feeling my neck grow warm. As if I'd ever be interested in a polished elven princess anyway, I thought angrily. We made our way down into the enormous moss-lined cavern. That's odd. Usually we see a fair amount of snarlers already. Why don't I? All of a sudden, hideous noises began echoing all around us, peeking out from behind the I bet some people about to die. I bet some people, but Curtis probably gonna die. Yo, you know, Kathleen might die. Tessia might die. Oh my God. This is crazy. All of a sudden, hideous noises began echoing all around us, peeking out from behind the numerous boulders and from small caverns dotting the walls of the cave. Were innumerable beady red eyes. I clenched my fist around the hilt of the plane. He doesn't even have what's his name? The sword. He probably don't have the sword. What the fuck was the sword name? Man, I'm forgetting everything. What was the sword name? Tell me the name of the sword. It was shoot, what did he name that sword? Somebody help me out. You gotta help me out in the comments. What did he name the sword? It was something. It was Dawn's Ballad. It was Dawn's Ballad. That's what it was called. Dawn's Ballad. Woo! I got it. Y'all ain't no help. But I got it though. So he doesn't even have Dawn's Ballad though. That's crazy. Or maybe he does. Because he found it in the auction house. So maybe he does have Dawn's Ballad. I don't know. I clenched my fist around the hilt of the plain but serviceable blade the school had provided for this expedition. Yeah, he got a plain blade. He ain't got Dawn's Ballad. All around me, students were casting weary looks at Professor Glory, but I forgot about everything else as I felt the thrill of really getting to test myself for the first time. This is odd. Even on the lower floors, there are never this many snarlers bunched together, Professor Glory said, bracing herself. There are a lot of them, but they aren't impossible to handle. However, since this is just a class excursion, I think it's best to go back. I wonder if what's the dude's name? Lucas. I wonder if Lucas is gonna go out and be like, oh yeah, I can do all this and start blazing everybody up or whatever, and end up taking the oxygen out of the cave and shit. There are a lot of them, but they aren't impossible to handle. However, since this is just a class excursion, I think it's best to go back up, just in case. Safety is our priority. But as Professor Glory started slowly ushering everyone back toward the stairs, a fireball, this motherfucker did do it! A fireball flew past her. The fireball exploded, and 6 of the manabees, known as snarlers, were flung in different directions. Their smoking bodies, each about 4 feet tall, with thickly muscled chests and arms and short-bowed legs, lay motionless. See? A snide noble named Lucas Weiss scoffed, brandishing his staff. These nasty little beasts are weak, Professor. Don't tell me you brought us all here just to go back. Even a small fire spell was enough to kill 6 of them. Not to be outdone by the less talented mage, I burst forward and imbued fire attribute mana into my blade, making it dance with bright flames. The burning sword carved a bright arc through the dimly lit cavern, striking through one of the ugly creature's thick gray coat of fur, which smoldered and gave off a horrid stench. Its beady red eyes stared up at me from a boorish, snouted face. Arthur, the professor shouted, not able to hide her frustration and worry given the context. Damn it, you two! Everyone split into your teams and take different parts of the floor. We don't want any friendly fire happening in here. And Lucas, Arthur, if either of you do something like that again, there will be consequences. Professor Glory swept a menacing look across the two of us. I nodded, feeling my cheeks burning. Prince Curtis, take your team and make your way toward the left side of the cavern. Princess Tessia, take your team to the right cave and hold your ground. The last team, with me. I'll be keeping an eye on you all. I'll keep an eye on you at all times. But stay vigilant. And don't underestimate the snarlers, especially in these numbers. With that, Professor Glory motioned for the teams to move forward. Roland, I want you to be the vanguard, since you're the best at close range. Princess Aerolith, that's her saying that. Princess Aerolith ordered, her voice carrying throughout the cavern. Clive and Owen, you guys take positions behind him to his left and right, and make sure he's covered. Lucas, stay in the center. So that means he never became part of the, that means that he never became part of the fucking academy, the fucking team, the whatever the hell they're called, the disciplinary committee or whatever. He never became part of that too. So, So Clive and Owen, you guys take positions behind him to his left and right and make sure he's covered. Lucas, stay in the center behind Roland. And between Clive and Owen, I'll cover your back. We're going in the diamond position we learned in class. But I was with the professor, of course, since neither of the royalty had use for someone not from a noble household. Even a bi-elemental mage, the battle was intense, and Professor Glory kept us on a shorter leash than the other teams had to deal with. But as I spun and ducked, my blade flashing, lightning imbuing my muscles to swing it even faster, I fell into rhythm. I fell into a rhythm of dealing death. And the thing was, I was good at it. And that felt good. I wanted more of it, that thrill of power. I wanted to become an adventurer ever since I was a little boy, but I really knew at that moment that I would follow into my father's footsteps. This is great. Just then, there was a crack from above, and a huge spike of ice slammed into the ground just next to me. I was thrown off my feet and had to wrap myself in a shield of water attribute mana to keep off the swarm of snarlers that leapt at the chance to take me down. Professor Glory waded in with her two giant swords, one held in each hand, carving through multiple mana beasts with each swing. She didn't see the two-winged monstrosities drift down from the ceiling until one had her by the shoulder. It lifted her up and tossed her away like a rag doll. Okay, things are changing, man. I could do nothing as the second creature, something like the Snarlers, but twice as large and with broad wings, leaned down toward me. Each of its front limbs had four long, sharp claws that glistened, menacing as they approached. This means that he also doesn't have that connection with Tessia, so that means that Tessia doesn't get reincarnated as Cecilia too. I mean, this is just a completely different story at this point. I can do nothing as a second creature, something like Snarlers, but twice as large with broad wings, leaned down toward me. Each of its front limbs had four long, sharp claws that glistened, menacing as they approached. My barrier came apart like tissue paper, and the claws plunged into me. I closed my eyes, unable to understand what was happening. It couldn't end like this. It just couldn't. I was special, unique even. As the pain gave way to numbness, all I could think was, what a waste. Everything faded to black, and then, within the black, a faint bit of distant light. So is this motherfucker starting all over again? So he dies, and then he starts all over again. Wait, is this how it's gonna happen? Like, he needs to have, but what needs to go differently in order for him to? This is so crazy. Yo. Everything went to black. A faint bit of distant light. The light had entered the tunnel, I thought. Not yet cognizant of the fact that I should no longer be thinking at all. The light grew closer, brighter, and then, as if we're looking through a foggy window, everything around me turned into a bright blur, forcing me to shut my eyes, despite being sure they were already shut. Indiscernible sounds assaulted my ears, making me dizzy. When I tried to speak, the words came out as a cry. The cacophony of the indistinguishable sounds that slowly mellowed, and I heard a muffled voice. Congratulations, sir and madam. He's a healthy boy. So we are literally just going to get him reincarnated until he learns whatever but I just don't understand, like, what needed to go different, though? Because he was able to see it when he was a baby, right? He was able to see the ether, but he never talked about seeing the ether anymore after that. He was talking about how he could see the he could see the pathways, but then the pathways never got brought up again. So he was a prodigy as a kid, but I think, like I said, the catalyst was his memories. For some reason, something caused his memories to fade. And because his memories faded, he no longer was able to use his experience in Earth with Ki in order for him to unlock all four of the elements and then go through everything with Sylvia and then go everything with, so maybe I wonder if this time when he wakes up as a baby again, I wonder if he's going to have those memories back again And then is he going to be cognizant of what just previously happened and how he needs to go about things a little bit differently now? That's what I'm wondering. So this is crazy. This is crazy. So I don't know, man. I really don't. What do y'all think? Because I don't know. This is surprising. I'm just wondering, what does he need to? Why did his memories fade? What? Oh, you know what it was? Maybe his memories faded because he stopped. Because he said that if he stopped focusing on who he really is, he like sinks into the ground or whatever. And so maybe that's what happened. He stopped focusing on himself, sunk into the ground, and then that started him losing his memories. And then after that, it seemed like all his memories completely left after he saved the twin horns from the attack. It's like once he saved the twin horns from the attack, all his memories was gone after that. And he lived his life as just like a normal kid who, you know, bi-elemental mage and a deviant, and that was it. So that's crazy though. That's crazy. So I just wonder if he's going to remember how things just recently turned out, so that way he can do things differently again. Hopefully that's what happens. But yeah, this was definitely a surprising chapter for me. Definitely a surprising chapter for me. So he needs to remember what happened, so that way he can go about things differently. And he needs to focus, because I believe he needs to focus on his body or who he really is, so that way he doesn't lose his memories. So he doesn't sink. So that's what I'm thinking at this point. So he just needs to make sure that he has his memories. Hopefully he has his memories when he wakes up. But maybe he needs to, because she said that he's going to be alone more so than ever, but then maybe not entirely. So maybe she was giving like a hint of just like how he needs to be alone and not be with his family, because his being with his family ends up not making him as strong as he needs to be. But then is it really about strength, or is it just about insight at this point? So I don't know. But this is cool though. This is cool. I'm definitely surprised by this chapter. This definitely probably give this chapter like a good 8.5 out of 10. This was a good chapter. This was a really good chapter, and I was definitely surprised by it. But yeah, I definitely think that he's probably going to have his memories back, because if he doesn't have his memories, then he's going to just keep on making the same mistakes. So you got to have his memories back, and I think he's going to start tweaking some things and be able to have a life go a little bit differently. But I think that he just needs to focus on himself and not change things too much. Or maybe he just needs to focus. He just needs to focus on himself, so that way he doesn't lose his memory. So he can change things, but if he keeps focusing on who he is, then he won't lose his memories. And okay, that's the only thing I can think of right now. But yeah, that's about it. This is cool. But if you guys do me a favor and like the video, man, that help out the channel. So I appreciate the likes. I got one person liked the video. If you can give me a like, that definitely helps me out. And I guess just give your theories on what you think is going to happen in the next chapter, because I mean, I think that it's pretty standard. Like, he's going to have to keep tweaking what he does, and eventually we're going to figure out why he's losing his memories and what he needs to do to stop his memories from being lost, and kind of see. Man, I don't know, but it can go out in so many different ways, though. It can go out in so many different ways. I only see this last one is one more chapter. Yeah, one more. Yeah, I look at it that way too. But the next chapter gonna come out soon too. So we should be able to continue. Hopefully, we continue and don't go to another point of view. I think they posted the preview. And yet it was far too great of a risk to try and press through the front lines, where I could be mistaken as an enemy combatant soldiers on the other side. So it looked like it's a different POV. So it doesn't look like we're continuing with Arthur, which is whack. That's whack. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the chapter or whatever. And I'll check you guys out in the next video. Peace.